Palmer, tell me about yourself, man. Where were you born and raised?
Well, I was basically born in Pensacola, Florida, and my mom and dad was in the military, so I never really stayed anywhere too long. I spent most of my time in California, San Diego, and I've always traveled most of my life. Been to Guam, Italy, Hawaii. I've been on the East Coast, up north, down south, and so like when I was a kid, I used to get in trouble a lot. Like, I was a very troubled kid. I don't know why, but I was. Maybe I was taken after my dad, because when my dad passed away, I found out that he did things that I would never think of, because he never showed me that type of lifestyle. They always try to keep us away from it, but the more they try to keep us away from it, the more I would run to it. So when I was in Guam, I got in trouble because I broke into the community center. And then so when I got arrested, they took me to the station, and they couldn't take me to jail because I'm a kid. I'm only like 9 years old. So they're trying to figure out why and how did I do this. So when I explained it to them, they didn't believe me. So they got in touch with my mom, and then my mom called my grandmother in Louisiana, and then that's when I got sent out there for 4 years. Now, when I got sent out there, oh my God, that's where it all began. Cause like my grandfather, he used to try to like molest us. So like, and if I would ask him for some money, he would cuss me out. And I would wonder, you're supposed to be my grandpa. Why are you always cussing me out? But yet you give my brothers and them $20, $10, but you don't give me nothing. I mean, so we would get into it. By this time, I'm like 11 years old. And so I would get into fights with my grandfather, and I would get in trouble behind it. I would get beat behind it, because they said I was being disrespectful. But nobody would ever want to hear me when I tried to tell them what was going on. So after all that, my grandpa passed, and then my grandma, she really raised me. So, that kind of straightened me up a little bit. But then when I went back to California, I really started getting in trouble. I started breaking into houses. I started like selling drugs. I was just doing gang banging, carrying guns. I even got caught carrying a gun, and I accidentally pulled it on a police officer, and they almost blew my head off of that. And it made the news too. But this was back in like 89. But that's a whole nother story. But so when I got back to California, I got into the gang banging because, my dad wasn't there. Mom's, she never really talked much. She was always quiet. So me and my brother, we just started just doing our own thing. And then that's when we dropped out of school, when I should have just continued. I only had 2 years to go, but I really had no help going to school. Everything was all on me. But now that I know what I know now, I wish I would have did better back then. But situations was just what it was. So as I was getting older, I started getting locked up, going to prison. I went to prison about maybe 6, 7 times. So the last time I went to prison, a riot broke out. So I told myself, you know what, I'm not doing this again. So that kind of changed my life. It kind of made me slow down on the stuff that I was doing. So when I was in Stockton, California, I was staying with my baby moms. They was just using me. They called CPS on me, got my kids took. They found out I was doing drugs. And because nobody really never knew, but they knew that I was acting different. So when they got called on me and they took my kids, that really took a toll on me.
How many kids?
4. And I was raising them by myself because their mom had got locked up for some murder that had happened in 96. And they've been trying to figure that out for 12 years. But her baby dad ended up telling on her. So she got locked up, and the other 2 people that was with her got locked up. They gave her 25 years, and the person that shot the lady, they gave him life. And then the other guy, they gave him 11 years because he just started talking. So
you're raising your 4 kids, she's away, and they're dependent on you.
Oh yeah. And I was doing good for a minute. I was doing good, but then the money just kind of went to my head because I ain't never had that much money before. So I was buying cars. I had my own place. Kids had their own room. They had everything they needed. They didn't want for nothing. But my daughter, she started acting out. So that's where the problems came in, because she felt like I was treating her different from my boys, because my boys were straight A students. I never had no problems out of them. So my daughter, she was just always getting into fights. Every day I was getting calls from school, every day. So I would kind of put my hands on her because I didn't know what else to do. So she ended up calling CPS on me, and then that's when they found out what I was doing. And then so I went to the rehab, and I just couldn't take it because I started hallucinating real bad. I mean, I was hallucinating. So I ended up leaving. And the kids are grown now, but they end up in foster care, and they're kind of mad at me still. And I don't blame them. But my daughter, she still talks to me. She apologized to me because now she kind of understands what I was going through, because I told them, one day y'all see, y'all will understand. But now they understand. But my boys, they just do their own thing. They don't really talk to me as much as my daughter does.
How old are they now?
My boys Shandon is 21, and he's a basketball player for San Jose State. And Kamar, he's 18, and Samari is 20. So yeah, they're all on their own, and I heard they're doing pretty good, and I'm real proud of them.
Your daughter's the youngest?
Kamar is.
Kamar, gotcha.
It's Shandon, Samari, and Kamar. Shandon is the one that played basketball for San Jose State.
So three kids?
Yeah, 3.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you said 4 for some reason.
Oh, the 4th one was about my baby mom. That's separate from
Gotcha.
my ex-wife that got locked up.
I see.
So I had a Palmer Jr. So I kind of just like walked out on all of them, you know, because if I can't be there for one, then I feel like I can't be there for none, which was kind of a crazy move. So I ended up moving to Washington to kind of try to change my life, to stop doing drugs. But then when I got out here, I seen it was a whole different ball game out here. So for a while, I wasn't doing opiates. So one day, I just said, let me just try this. And I tried it, and I didn't get it. And then I started feeling weird for some reason. So I went to the doctors, and I didn't understand that I was getting sick. I didn't know that because it was just new to me. And so when I finally figured out what was going on, it's like being trapped.
Meaning you're having withdrawals, like getting dope
oh
sick.
My God, it's the worst. It is so bad. It's like I feel like I'm trapped on this, because it's scary to try to get off of it, you know? I mean, they have stuff to help you get off of it, but it's a mental and it's a physical thing. But the withdrawals are super bad. And so that's what makes a lot of people homeless, because they wouldn't be able to withstand a job long enough, because they would have to get themselves well. And a lot of people I know that has had jobs that was on opiates either got caught smoking in the bathroom or nodded out at work, so it wouldn't work, you know? So now that they're doing this housing thing, it's really all an experiment. I mean, that's how I feel. Just like how the nature people go watch the animals, that's what they're doing to us. They're studying us to see how we act and see how we are, you know, with housing and without housing. And so, like, when I used to have a tent on Woodland Park, they would come and they would sweep everybody up, and they would just tear down your little place or whatnot, and then they would put you in this hotel, and then they put you in some building with a bunch of crazy people. I just wasn't with it. I just ain't with it, you know. I see what's going on, and I'm not stupid. But at the same time, I'm working on getting off of this stuff, because you got no life with it. No life. You can't really do anything.
So you have this desire to get off of it and be clean.
I hate waking up in the morning and not knowing I don't have it. Mm. And I have a bad attitude, and I'm just tearing everything up because of the physical, of the pain, you know, of the withdrawals. And it's just terrible. It's terrible. So I advise anybody, just say no.
Well, I'm curious, let's go back a little bit. You know, when you were 9 and you were in Guam and your folks sent you to your grandparents, I mean, that's young. What was were you scared? Were you just like, what's going on? Like, what was the feeling in there?
I was more feeling like rejected because, like I said, my dad was never there because he's always out to sea. My mom, she was in the military too, so she never really talked much. Like, I haven't really had a full, when I was a kid, I never really talked to my mom. We never had a full conversation or anything. But as I got older, we talked, but she's still quiet. But I just never understood why, you know. And she knew all the stuff that was going on with us, but she would just never say nothing about it.
So you were with your grandparents for 4 years, and he was abusing you, sexually abusing you and siblings?
He was trying to.
He was trying to.
But he was abusing my brothers, though. Yeah, he was definitely sexually abusing them because he would let them have their ways. He would give them money, and he'd always be like, come sit on my lap type stuff. So that's what made me like vengeful. It just kind of made me evil. And it used to make me have crazy thoughts of doing things that I normally wouldn't do, you know?
Like
that's how serial killers are born. Put it like that.
Was the emotion anger towards your grandfather?
It was, yeah. A lot of anger and a lot of adrenaline, like, it was a lot of anger, yeah.
Well, my guess is, I mean, it's so confusing. This is someone who's supposed to love us. It's like all this stuff, but then at the same time, this person's hurting and abusing. I mean, how confusing is that for a kid?
Man, it's terrible.
And so your emotions
So I would get in trouble behind fighting him, cussing him out, jumping on his car. He tried to shoot me one time, but the gun didn't have no bullets in it. But it's the fact that you pull a gun on your own grandkid, you know? So it made me rebellious.
Yeah, that makes an impact.
It made me very rebellious. So I felt like, you know, I had something to prove. Mm-hmm. But maybe because they're from the country, so maybe the way he grew up, his father probably was very abusive to him. So he was probably abusing my dad, and then my dad was abusing me. So I seen myself doing it toward my kids. So I'm kind of glad that everything worked out the way it did, but then again, I wish it didn't, you know?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about, Palmer, your current situation. Where are you at now?
Well, now I am working on getting my ID. I've been working on it for 6 years. It's like, without an ID, it's like you're locked out the world. I mean, you're really blocked out the world. You can't buy no cigarettes, you can't buy no alcohol, you can't get no job. You basically can't do nothing without an ID. Like, if I wanted to get off, you know, opiates, I can't even do that because I would have to have an ID just to go to the little place where they do the whatever you call that stuff that stops the cravings. It's like you gotta have an ID for everything. So when I do get a job, it's under the table. So, you know, and people take advantage of that, you know, because
let's talk about it. How are you surviving? How are you surviving out here?
Well, the way I'm surviving is, to be honest with you, I manifest most of the things that I want. And manifestation is so real. It's so real. It's unbelievable. It's very unbelievable. I manifested cars, women, drugs, money, but it all has a price to pay to it. Like, it all comes with a price. It definitely comes with a price. And if you don't use it the right way, oh man, it will bite you. It will bite you. And karma comes really fast when you get older. So like right now, I'm kind of staying with my girlfriend, but I really should be working on my own place because my place would be different from the way she runs her place. And I just feel like I'm just, like everything just keeps repeating over and over and over. So I'm trying to figure out what it is that I'm doing wrong. I kind of know, but then again, I don't know.
Well, tell me about, the Commons is helping. It can help you. Is helping you
getting
an ID.
A lot of help.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for them, a lot of the people would probably be off the map right now. Straight up, a lot of people would be unalive. This place really helps you out, but you have to want to help yourself because they're not going to do it for you. You have to do it for yourself, and you have to push for it, and they will help you with whatever it is that you need. Like today, I went over there to do my birth certificate, send for my birth certificate, but they want to know my ID number, so now I got to call California and go through all this stuff with the DMV, hoping that they'll give me my, California number. Because anybody could call and say that you're this person and get those numbers, so it's going to be kind of hard. I was on Social Security, but they turned it off because I wasn't going to the doctors. I didn't know I had to go to the doctors. I just switched it over, and I didn't have no address really because I was homeless, and so they just cut it off, and then I never went back to try to, fix it. And that's one of my problems. It's like something happened, I have an issue with fixing it. From growing up, not having nobody to be there. I don't have no older brothers, no older sister. My dad never showed me nothing. My mom never showed me nothing. Everything I learned is from the streets. So life is just basically common sense. So
yeah, my guess is, trying to get your ID, birth certificate, and you need the ID to get this and that, and it just is a mess. You don't have an address, and
it's like, man, being locked out of the world.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, at least 6 years is a long time to be in that, trying to figure this stuff out.
It really is. And how I survived, it's by the grace of God, honestly. Because I don't know anybody that can survive without an ID. Like you basically, you can't do nothing. I mean, nothing. You could barely get any help without an ID. Because they don't know if that's you. And you would think the DMV would just, type your name in and your picture would pop up, but no.
Well, I'm curious, you said that you don't have an address. Let's talk a little bit about when you first became, unhoused, homeless. What age was that? How did that happen?
Well, when I moved out here, I was staying with my baby's mom's sister and her boyfriend. So I felt like they was using me for my Social Security, because it's like they got jobs, they got money, but they want to spend up my money all the time. So I'm like, you know what? I got to get out of here. I got to figure it out. So I ended up meeting this girl. It was one of my best friend's girlfriend. They was having issues. She invited me to come stay with her. Me and her, we started messing around, and we got into a relationship for about 3 years. So I was staying with her, and we were staying in like shelters and at her mom's house. Then her mom kind of got in her ear, and then relationship was over. So I just packed up my stuff and out on the streets I was. And I really didn't know what to do at that time. So I just kind of got with other people that I seen, that I kind of knew from being outside, and they kind of showed me the ropes. But really, I just kind of just watched and peeped out what they was doing. So I started like kind of following it.
So you're floating around couch surfing, and then that ends, and
yeah,
I've heard this.
I was sleeping outside for about maybe 3-4 years.
Oh wow!
I was staying in a tent because I used to do the couch surfing when I was in California, but it's just too much of an issue trying to stay with people. It's just way too much of an issue because people will take advantage of you. And I just couldn't have it no more. So as older I'm getting, the more wiser I'm starting to become, because I'm not getting no younger and time ain't waiting on nobody. So I kind of want to do something with myself before I go, you know.
Tell me more about that.
I would like to graduate, get my GED. I would like to have like a, 6-8 year career and just kind of retire from something. Because I don't want to pass away not doing anything with my life, because then I feel like it's all for nothing.
Well, it sounds like you got some children.
Yeah, I got 13 of them, to tell you the truth. So, woo. And it's like every job I get, man, they take out so much of my money. They take away so much of my money. My God.
You mean like paying child support stuff?
Yes.
Got it.
So it's like it's hard to live off the checks, because I'm really not getting anything. But I'm busting my chops, you know. But it's not getting anything anywhere.
Well, if you could do any kind of work or a job, what's in your mind?
I was thinking like construction. I would do construction or landscaping. Something that pays pretty good. I would like to work for the union. But my dream is to play music. I taught myself how to play the guitar, piano, basically all the instruments. I went to school for playing the trumpet when I was in the 5th grade. My dad wanted me to play a trumpet, but I didn't really like it. But now I understand. Now that I understand music, I see that the trumpet is, I don't understand how them people blow like that. That's a lot of wind. That's a lot of wind.
Well, I mean, there's something to, I remember in around 5th grade, my parents put me in piano lessons. I hated it. I wanted to go out and play. It took 2 years, and then finally they asked me and said, hey, you want to do it anymore? I said, no way. But that was the best thing they could have ever done. It opened my mind up and rhythm and all that kind of stuff. And I imagine, what if I would have kept at it until now?
Oh, yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. Because I was making mixtapes before mixtapes was even thought of. And my brother brought that to my attention. And I thought about it like, dang, I really was. You know, I was like ahead of my time. But getting into...
Taping the radio on the boombox or what?
Yeah, with the boombox, like I would talk, and then I would have certain songs come in to say what it is that I wanted to say, but they say it a little bit better, kind of with the music. So I would do a lot of that. And yeah, my brother said I was the first one to make mixtapes, because wasn't no mixtapes out then. So I used to have to sneak around to hear music, a certain type of music, because my parents was against rap music and stuff like that. So I used to have to sneak around and listen to it.
Was it a religious thing or just what?
I think they didn't want me to grow up trying to be like that, because people that listen to rap, the way they, because music controls the way you live. Music has a lot to do with why people are so violent. Because music is deep. Music is very deep.
Very powerful.
Oh yes, it influences you.
It can, for sure.
It does. That's why people are the way they are. It's the music. Because like I said, I see what goes on in the world. I mean, I'm not dumb. I've always have. But I didn't think it was what it was until I got older and realized it is. And that's crazy.
Palmer, one last question before we wrap this up. Is there anything you'd want the people of Seattle to know?
Man, just don't judge nobody by the, don't judge a book by the cover. Get to know that person first and find out, what their issue is, because everybody ain't out here because they want to be out here. It's like people got issues, people got problems, people go through things, and people get traumatized, and they feel like nobody cares. Like you say, the rich is getting rich and the poor is getting poor, and it's like, what are they doing for us?
Thanks for sharing.
Well, no problem.
It's good to hear your voice, man. Good to meet
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab that little mic. Take a couple pictures.
All right.
13 kids, man.